The morning started like any other day for Commander Jake Morrison. He sat at his desk in the NORAD Command Center, drinking his third cup of coffee and reading reports. The mountain facility in Colorado hummed with its usual activity. Technicians monitored screens showing satellite data from around the world. Everything seemed normal. Then the alarm started screaming. "Commander Morrison, you need to see this," called out Lieutenant Kelly Adams from her station. Her voice shook with fear. "We have massive objects appearing in Earth's orbit." Jake rushed to the main display screen. What he saw made his blood run cold. Huge dark shapes were materializing in space above Earth. They weren't meteors or space. Debris. These were ships. Alien ships. How many? Jake asked, his voice steady despite the fear growing in his chest. "Still counting, sir. We have at least 300 confirmed contacts. They're positioning themselves over major cities around. The world. The ships were enormous. Each one stretched for miles across the sky. They had sharp edges and dark metal surfaces that seemed to absorb light. No human technology had ever built anything so massive. The vessels hung in the sky like dark clouds, blocking out the sun in many places. Jake grabbed his secure phone and dialed the Pentagon. "This is Commander Morrison at NORAD. We have a situation. You need to get everyone here now." Within minutes, the facility became a hive of activity. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials rushed to the tune. Command Center. Dr. Lisa Carter, a language expert from the Pentagon, arrived with a team of technicians. General Carl Stevens, the top military strategist, flew in from Washington. "What are we dealing with?" General Stevens asked as he studied the displays. "Unknown aircraft of massive size," Jake replied. "They appeared without warning. Our satellites didn't detect them approaching. It's like they just materialized out of nowhere." Dr. Carter set up her equipment to monitor radio frequencies. "If they're trying to communicate, we need to be ready to translate," she said. They didn't have to wait long. At exactly noon, every television, radio, computer, and phone on Earth began broadcasting the same message. The voice was cold and mechanical, speaking perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Zephyrian Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. Lay down all weapons. Cease all resistance. Submit to our authority. If you refuse, we will destroy every living thing on your world." The message repeated in every language on Earth. Chinese, Arabic, Spanish, Russian. The aliens seemed to know them all. The words were simple but terrifying. Dr. Carter worked frantically to analyze the broadcast. "This isn't just a translation," she told the group. "They understand our languages perfectly. They've been studying us." Jake felt sick to his stomach. "How long do you think they've been watching us?" "Could be years. Maybe decades," Dr. Carter replied. "They know exactly how to communicate with. Use." This was planned. President Amanda Brooks arrived at NORAD 6 hours later. She looked tired and worried. The weight of the world was on her shoulders. "What do we know about their capabilities?" she asked. General Stevens pulled up tactical displays. "We've tried sending fighter jets to investigate. The alien ships have some kind of shield. Our missiles just bounce off. Even nuclear weapons would be useless against those barriers." "What about their weapons?" the president asked. "Unknown. But we're about to find out," Jake said grimly. The answer came sooner than expected. One of the alien ships moved position over the Australian outback. A beam of bright blue energy shot down from the vessel. When the light faded, an entire military base had simply vanished. Not destroyed, completely gone. There wasn't even a crater left behind. The message was clear. The aliens could erase anything they wanted from existence. Dr. Carter discovered. More disturbing information as she continued analyzing alien communications. "They're not just conquering us," she announced to the group. "They think we're pests. According to their transmissions, they've done this to other worlds. They call it cleansing planets of inferior species." "How many worlds?" President Brooks asked. "At least 1,000 over the past few centuries. We're just the latest." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Humanity wasn't facing an invasion. They were facing extinction. Jake looked at the tactical displays showing Earth's military forces, aircraft carriers, missile batteries, tank divisions. All of humanity's weapons combined couldn't scratch a single alien ship. The technology gap was enormous. "We need to contact other world leaders," President Brooks said. "If we're going to fight this, we need to work together." "Ma'am," General Stevens said quietly, "I'm not sure fighting is an option. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Maybe we should consider their terms." "Surrender?" the President asked. "It might be our only choice if we want some humans to survive." Jake watched the alien ships on his screens. They hung in the sky like harbingers of death, waiting for humanity's answer. In less than 72 hours, every person on Earth would either be dead or enslaved. But something deep inside, Jake refused to accept defeat. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and wars. They had climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. Surely they could find a way to survive this too. The clock was ticking. Earth had less than 3 days to find a miracle or face complete annihilation. The question wasn't whether humanity would fight back, but how they could possibly win against such overwhelming odds. As night fell over Colorado, Jake Morrison stared at the alien ships through the mountain facility's windows. Somewhere in the darkness above, the enemy waited. And somewhere in the minds of 8 billion humans, the seeds of an impossible plan were about to take root. While world leaders debated surrender in emergency meetings, Dr. Nina Walsh worked alone in her laboratory at MIT. The quantum physics professor had been studying the alien ship's energy signatures since they arrived. What she found made no sense. According to normal science, "This can't be right," she muttered, checking her instruments for the 5th time. The readings were impossible, but they were consistent. The alien ships were producing energy patterns that matched something completely unexpected. Dr. Walsh had been studying human brain waves for years as part of her quantum consciousness research. The energy signatures from the alien ships showed the same quantum frequencies that appeared in human minds during extreme emotional states. Fear, anger, love, determination, all produced specific patterns in the quantum field around the brain. She called her colleague Dr. Ben Martinez, a neuroscientist at Harvard. "Ben, I need you to see something. Can you get to my lab tonight?" "Nina, there are alien ships over Boston. The world might end in 2 days. What could be more important than that? Maybe the way to save it." Dr. Martinez arrived at MIT 3. Hours later, the campus was nearly empty. Most students had gone home to be with their families. The alien ship over Boston cast a dark shadow across the city. "Show me what you found," Dr. Martinez said. Dr. Walsh pulled up her data on the computer screen. "Look at these energy readings from the alien ships. Now look at these brain scans from humans experiencing intense emotions." Dr. Martinez studied the patterns. His eyes widened. "They're almost identical." "But that's impossible. Brain waves can't affect objects in space." "Not brain waves," Dr. Walsh corrected. "Quantum fields. Human consciousness creates ripples in the quantum fabric of space. Most of the time, these ripples are too small to matter. But what if we could amplify them?" "Amplify them how?" Dr. Walsh led him to another room where she had built a strange device. It looked like a radio antenna covered in crystal formations. I've been working on quantum field amplifiers for years. The theory is that human consciousness can be focused and strengthened through quantum resonance. Nina, this sounds like science fiction. So did the internet 50 years ago. Look, the aliens are using technology we don't understand. Maybe we need to use abilities we don't understand either. Dr. Martinez examined the device. Even if this works, what could human consciousness do against alien warships? That's what we need to find out. I need test subjects. People who can focus their emotions intensely. The next morning, Captain Ryan Pierce received an unusual order. The Navy SEAL was told to report to MIT for a classified experiment. Ryan had spent 15 years in special operations. He had seen combat in dozens of countries and never backed down from a fight. But the alien ships made him feel helpless. Captain Pierce, Dr. Walsh said when he arrived, we need someone who can focus their mind under extreme pressure. Someone who won't give up no matter what. What kind of experiment? Ryan asked. We're going to see if human willpower can be turned into a weapon. Ryan looked at the strange device Dr. Walsh had built. You want me to think at the aliens? In simple terms, yes. We believe human emotions create quantum fields that can interfere with alien technology. But we need someone with incredible mental discipline to test the theory. Ryan had volunteered for dangerous missions before, but this was different. This wasn't about physical courage. This was about something he didn't understand at all. What do I need to do? Dr. Walsh hooked him up to monitoring equipment. I want you to think about everyone you love. Your family, your friends, your fellow soldiers. Think about protecting them. Feel the need to protect them with everything you have. Ryan closed his eyes and thought about his sister back home in Texas. He thought about his unit, the men who had served with him. He thought about every innocent person on Earth who was counting on someone to save them. The quantum amplifier began to hum. Energy readings spiked on Dr. Walsh's instruments. Something was happening. Ryan, I need you to focus that feeling. Direct it toward the alien ship over Boston. Picture your protective instincts reaching out to stop the aliens from hurting anyone. Ryan concentrated harder than he had ever concentrated in his life. He felt something strange, like electricity flowing through his mind. The amplifier's humming grew louder. On the monitoring equipment, Dr. Martinez watched in amazement. Nina, look at these readings. His brain activity is off the charts, but it's not just neural activity. There's something else. Dr. Walsh checked. Her quantum field detectors. The field is expanding. It's actually reaching beyond the laboratory. 3 miles away, technicians monitoring the alien ship over Boston noticed something odd. The ship's energy signature flickered for just a moment. They reported it as a minor sensor malfunction. It worked, Dr. Walsh whispered. We actually affected their ship, but Ryan looked exhausted. I can't keep that up for long. And even if I could, one person isn't enough to stop hundreds of ships. Dr. Walsh smiled for the first time in days. What if it wasn't just one person? What if it was everyone? That evening, Dr. Walsh contacted Kelly Adams, a technology entrepreneur who had built the world's largest social media network. Kelly's platforms connected over 4 billion people. Worldwide, if anyone could coordinate a global effort, it was her. You want to do what? Kelly asked during their video call. Connect every human on Earth simultaneously. Create a network where everyone can focus their emotions at the same time. If we can get billions of people to concentrate on the same goal, the quantum field we generate might be powerful enough to stop the aliens. Kelly thought about the technical challenges. The bandwidth alone would be enormous. And how do you get people to focus their emotions? Most people don't even understand what you're asking them to do. We keep it simple. Ask them to think about everyone they love. Ask them to focus on protecting those people. Human beings are naturally protective. We just need to channel that instinct. Kelly began working on the software immediately. She had less than 48 hours to create a system that could handle the simultaneous connection of billions of users. The program would need to work on phones, computers, televisions, and radios all at once. Meanwhile, Dr. Walsh and Dr. Martinez worked on building more quantum amplifiers. They needed devices positioned around the world to focus the collective human consciousness into a coherent force dot. As the alien deadline approached, the secret plan took shape. Military forces would launch a conventional attack to distract the aliens. While the enemy was focused on the obvious threat, the real weapon would strike from an unexpected direction. The weapon wasn't a missile or a bomb. It was the combined willpower of every human being on Earth. It was love for family, determination to survive, and refusal to surrender. It was the most human thing imaginable, turned into a force that no alien computer could understand or defend against. The plan seemed impossible. But as Dr. Walsh told her team, sometimes the most inconceivable ideas are the ones that work. With 24 hours left until the alien deadline, humanity prepared to fight back with the only weapon their enemy would never expect, the power of human emotion itself. The alien countdown reached 24 hours. Around the world, the massive ships began moving lower in the sky. They descended toward major cities like dark harbingers of death. People looked up at the vessels hanging over their homes and felt terror unlike anything in human history. In the NORAD command center, Commander Jake Morrison watched the tactical displays with growing dread. The alien ships over New York, London, Tokyo, and dozens of other cities had powered up their weapons. Energy readings showed they were preparing to fire. All military units, this is command, Jake spoke into his radio. Execute Operation Last Stand. Repeat, execute Operation Last Stand. Around the world, every military force humanity possessed launched a coordinated attack. Fighter jets screamed toward the alien ships. Missiles streaked through the sky. Naval vessels fired everything they had at the massive invaders. Jake knew the attack was hopeless. Earth's weapons couldn't penetrate the alien shields. But the assault wasn't meant to win. It was meant to make the aliens focus on the obvious threat, while the real weapon prepared to strike. High above Earth, Admiral Korath watched the human attack with cold amusement. The Zephyrian commander had conquered 47 worlds for the Empire. He had seen primitive species make their final stands before. They always chose the same predictable tactics. Pathetic, Korath told his officers. Their projectiles cannot even scratch our shields. Begin the cleansing protocol. Eliminate all military targets first, then the population centers. The alien ship's weapons powered up. Blue energy beams lanced down from the sky, vaporizing human aircraft and military installations. The attack was precise and devastating. In minutes, most of Earth's military forces were destroyed. But while the aliens focused on the conventional assault, something else was happening. In hidden locations around the world, Dr. Walsh's quantum amplifiers came online. The devices looked like ordinary communication towers to alien sensors, but they were actually humanity's secret weapon. Kelly Adams sat in her company's headquarters in California, her fingers flying across multiple keyboards. Her global network was about to attempt something that had never been tried before. She was going to connect every human being on Earth simultaneously. Activation in 30 seconds, she announced to her team. All platforms ready? Social media. Networks are prepared, one technician called out. We can reach 4 billion users instantly. Television and radio broadcasts are standing by, another added. Emergency alert systems are ready worldwide. Phone networks are configured. Third technician reported. We can send the message to every mobile device on the planet. Kelly looked at the alien ship hanging over Los Angeles. In a few minutes, it would begin firing on the city. Unless their plan worked. Initiate global broadcast, she ordered. Every television screen, computer monitor, and phone display on Earth showed the same message. Every radio played the same words. The message was simple and direct. This is humanity's moment. Think of everyone you love. Your family, your friends, your children. Picture their faces. Feel your need to protect them. Focus that feeling with everything you have. We are not alone. We are not afraid. We are humanity, and we will not surrender. In homes, offices, and shelters around the world, people stopped what they were doing. They thought about their loved ones. They focused on their determination to survive. They concentrated on their refusal to give up. In New York, a mother held her baby and thought about protecting her child. In London, an elderly man remembered his grandchildren. In Tokyo, students thought about their families back home. Across the planet, 8 billion humans focused their emotions on the same goal. The quantum amplifiers began to hum with power. Energy readings spiked as human consciousness created ripples in the quantum fabric of space. The individual thoughts of billions of people merged into something greater than the sum of its parts. Dr. Walsh monitored the quantum field from her laboratory. Ben, are you seeing this? She called to Dr. Martinez. The field strength is incredible. He replied, staring at his instruments. It's like nothing I've ever measured. The collective consciousness is actually changing the quantum structure of local space. Captain Ryan Pierce led a small team of soldiers toward the alien ship over Boston. Their mission wasn't to plant explosives or fight aliens with guns. They were going to serve as a focal point for the collective human consciousness. Remember, Ryan told his team as they approached the ship, we're not trying to destroy anything. We're trying to focus the will of every human on Earth. Think about everyone counting on us. Feel their determination flowing through you. The soldiers moved closer to the alien vessel. The ship's shields should have vaporized them, but something strange was happening. The energy barriers flickered as the quantum field generated by human emotion interfered with the alien technology. Inside the ship, Admiral Korath noticed unusual readings on his instruments. What is this interference? He demanded. Unknown, Admiral, his science officer replied. Our sensors are detecting quantum fluctuations of a type we've never encountered. The energy patterns are chaotic and illogical. Compensate for the interference and continue the attack. But the alien computers couldn't compensate. Their systems were designed to process logical, predictable data. The chaotic signature of human emotion was something they couldn't understand or adapt to. The quantum field continued to grow stronger. More people joined the mental network every second. Their combined consciousness created a wave of determination that spread throughout the solar system. In Brazil, a farmer thought about his crops and his family's future. In India, a teacher focused on protecting her students. In Australia, a doctor concentrated on saving lives. Each person added their emotional energy to the collective field. The alien ships began to malfunction. Their weapons flickered and failed to maintain steady power. Their shields wavered as the quantum field of human consciousness overwhelmed their logical systems. Dr. Walsh watched her instruments in amazement. The field is expanding beyond Earth's atmosphere. It's actually reaching the alien ships in orbit. Admiral Korath felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Fear. His coldly logical mind couldn't process the chaotic energy patterns surrounding his fleet. The Zephyrians had evolved beyond emotion long ago, trading feeling for perfect rationality. But now that rationality was failing them. Admiral, Our weapons are offline, reported his tactical officer. The quantum interference is increasing. Our navigation systems are also affected. The alien ships, unable to function properly in the presence of such overwhelming human emotion, began to drift out of position. Their perfect formations broke apart as individual vessels lost control. On Earth, people felt the change. The oppressive weight of the alien presence began to lift. The ships that had seemed so invincible moments before now appeared vulnerable and confused. Kelly Adams monitored the global network from her headquarters. "It's working," she announced. "The quantum field is affecting every alien ship simultaneously. They can't fight what they can't understand." The collective consciousness of humanity pressed its advantage. 8 billion people, all focused on the same goal, created a force that transcended physical limitations. Love, determination, hope, and defiance combined into a weapon that no alien technology could defeat. The inconceivable response was working. Humanity wasn't fighting with superior weapons or tactics. They were fighting with the one thing that made them human: their ability to feel deeply and care passionately about each other. As the alien ships continued to malfunction, a new possibility emerged. Maybe humanity wouldn't just survive this invasion. Maybe they would win. The alien fleet began their final assault as planned, but nothing was going according to their calculations. Admiral Korath watched his tactical displays with growing alarm as energy beams fired from his ships toward Earth's surface. The weapons should have vaporized entire city blocks, but instead, the beams flickered and weakened as they passed through the strange quantum field surrounding the planet. "What is happening to our weapons?" Korath demanded. "The quantum interference is increasing, Admiral," his science officer reported. "Our energy systems are being disrupted by patterns we cannot identify or counteract." Below on Earth, Dr. Walsh monitored the quantum field from her laboratory. The readings were beyond anything she had imagined possible. "The emotional energy of humanity is creating a barrier," she told Dr. Martinez. "The aliens' weapons are designed to work in normal space, but we've changed the quantum structure around Earth. The field wasn't just blocking the alien weapons. It was transforming them. The cold, logical energy of the Zephyrian technology couldn't maintain coherence when it encountered the chaotic, emotional quantum signature of human consciousness." Kelly Adams coordinated the global network from her headquarters. 8 billion people remained connected, their thoughts focused on protection and survival. The collective consciousness had become a living shield around Earth. "Increase the emotional output," she broadcast worldwide. "Think about everyone you've ever loved. Feel your determination to protect them. Let that feeling fill your entire being." Around the world, people responded. In hospitals, doctors thought about their patients. In schools, teachers focused on their students. Parents held their children and concentrated on keeping them safe. The elderly remembered everyone they had loved throughout their long lives. Captain Ryan Pierce and his team had reached the alien mothership over Boston. The vessel's shields, normally impenetrable, flickered and failed as the quantum field of awe. Human emotion overwhelmed the logical systems that maintained them. "We're inside," Ryan reported through his radio. "The alien technology is malfunctioning everywhere. It's like their computers can't process what's happening." Inside the ship, Ryan saw something that amazed him. The aliens themselves were affected by the quantum field. The tall, pale beings moved in jerky, confused motions. Their large eyes showed something Ryan had never expected to see. Fear. Dr. Walsh's theory had been correct. The Zephyrians had evolved beyond emotion, becoming creatures of pure logic. But human consciousness was pure emotion, and when the two forces met, the aliens' minds couldn't cope. "They're not just affected by our field," Ryan reported. "They're terrified of it. I think they've forgotten how to feel, and now they're experiencing emotions for the first time in centuries. Admiral Korath felt the quantum field pressing against his consciousness. Strange sensations filled his mind: worry, doubt, confusion. These were feelings his species had eliminated from their psychology long ago. The perfect logical clarity that had made the Zephyrians masters of the galaxy was crumbling. "All ships retreat to minimum safe distance," Korath ordered, his voice shaking with an emotion he couldn't name. But retreat was impossible. The quantum field generated by human consciousness was expanding beyond Earth's atmosphere. It followed the alien ships as they tried to flee, carried by the quantum connections between all matter and space. On Earth, the collective consciousness of humanity grew stronger. People who had never met began to feel connected to each other. The network Kelly Adams had created was becoming something greater than technology. It was becoming a genuine joining of human minds. Dr. Walsh watched her instruments in wonder. The field is self-sustaining now. It's feeding on the emotional energy of everyone connected to it. The more people who join, the stronger it becomes. The alien ships throughout the solar system began to malfunction. Their weapons failed completely. Their shields collapsed. Their navigation systems produced random, chaotic outputs as they tried to process the impossible data patterns created by human emotion. But the most dramatic effect was on the aliens themselves. Centuries of evolution had made them creatures of pure logic, but the quantum field of human consciousness was reawakening something they had lost. They were beginning to feel again. Admiral Korath experienced something he had never felt before: regret. As the human emotions washed over him, he began to understand what his species had done. They had conquered world after world, destroying countless civilizations in their logical pursuit of galactic dominance. But they had never stopped to consider the cost. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the human planet." "Put it through," Korath replied, his voice heavy with newfound emotion. Dr. Lisa Carter's voice filled the alien bridge. "Admiral Korath, we know you can understand us. We want to talk." The alien commander looked at his officers. For the first time in his long life, he felt uncertainty. "What do you want to discuss?" "We want to understand why you're doing this. Why destroy so many worlds? What are you running from?" The question struck Korath like a physical blow. How did the humans know they were running? The Zephyrians had never admitted, even to themselves, that their expansion was motivated by fear. "There is something in the deep space," Korath found himself saying. "Something that feeds on consciousness itself. We thought that by eliminating emotion, by becoming purely logical, we could hide from it. But it found us anyway." On Earth, Dr. Carter translated the aliens' words for the human leadership. President Brooks listened with growing understanding. "They're not conquerors. They're refugees. But why attack us?" Dr. Carter asked the alien admiral. "Because you are what we used to be," Korath replied. "Full of emotion, full of feeling. The entity that hunts us is drawn to such things. By eliminating emotional species, we hoped to deny its sustenance. The revelation changed everything. The aliens weren't evil conquerors seeking to expand their empire. They were a dying species, desperately trying to survive by destroying the very thing that made life worth living." Dr. Walsh understood the implications immediately. "The quantum field we've created is not just protecting Earth, it's showing them there's another way." The collective consciousness of humanity pressed against the alien fleet with increasing intensity. But now it carried a different message. Instead of pure defiance, it offered something the Zephyrians had never encountered: compassion. 8 billion humans focused their thoughts on understanding rather than destruction. They felt pity for the aliens who had forgotten how to feel. They offered empathy to beings who had spent centuries in cold, logical isolation. the quantum field began to change. What had started as a weapon became something else entirely. It became a bridge between two species, offering the aliens a chance to remember what they had lost. Admiral Korath felt tears on his face, the first tears his species had shed in 1,000 years. The human emotion flooding through the quantum field was teaching him to feel again. But more than that, it was showing him hope. "Admiral," his science officer said, "the quantum field is stabilizing our systems. The human consciousness isn't just interfering with our technology, it's improving it." The impossible was happening. The chaotic emotional energy of humanity was somehow compatible with Zephyrian logic. The two forces weren't opposites. They were complementary parts of a greater whole. The inconceivable weapon had become an inconceivable gift. Humanity wasn't just saving themselves from the aliens. They were saving the aliens from themselves. The Zephyrian fleet attempted to retreat to the outer edges of the solar system, but they made a shocking discovery. The quantum field created by human consciousness wasn't fading with distance. Instead, it was growing stronger, expanding outward. Like ripples in a cosmic pond. Admiral Korath watched his instruments with a mixture of wonder and fear. The emotional energy from Earth was following his ships, carried by the quantum connections that existed between all matter in the universe. His vessel, contaminated by exposure to human feeling, was becoming a beacon that spread the field even further. "Admiral, our sister fleets are reporting similar effects," his communications officer announced. "Ships throughout the galaxy are experiencing quantum interference from emotional patterns. The effect is spreading faster than light." Dr. Walsh monitored the expanding field from her laboratory on Earth. "It's incredible," she told Dr. Martinez. "The quantum signature of human consciousness is being transmitted through space itself. We're not just affecting the ships near Earth. We're reaching every Zephyrian vessel in the galaxy." The implications were staggering. Humanity's collective consciousness had become a cosmic force, touching alien minds across unimaginable distances. The Zephyrians, who had spent centuries running from emotion, were now surrounded by it. But something unexpected was happening to the aliens themselves. As the emotional quantum field washed over them, they began to remember things they had forgotten. Images of their homeworld before the Great Change. Memories of family, friendship, and love from their distant past. Admiral Korath felt his mind opening to sensations he hadn't experienced in centuries. The cold logic that had guided his species for so long was still there, but now it was balanced by something warmer. He remembered his name before he became an admiral. He remembered having a family. "Sir," his science officer said, "I'm detecting something in the quantum field. It's not just human consciousness. There are echoes of our own suppressed emotions. The humans are helping us remember who we used to be." The revelation struck Korath like lightning. The human emotional field wasn't just affecting Zephyrian technology. It was reawakening the emotional centers of alien brains that had been dormant for centuries. On Earth, Dr. Carter maintained communication with the alien commander. "Admiral, we are receiving strange readings from your fleet. Your ships are changing." "Yes," Korath replied, his voice filled with an emotion he was only beginning to understand. "We are becoming what we once were. But there is something you must know. The entity that hunts us, it feeds on consciousness. If we become emotional again, it will find us." President Brooks listened to the translation with growing concern. "What kind of entity?" "Something from the space between galaxies," Korath explained. "It devours the life force of thinking beings. We thought that by eliminating emotion, we could make ourselves invisible to it, but we only made ourselves empty." Captain Ryan Pierce, still aboard the alien mothership, witnessed the transformation happening to the Zephyrians around him. The tall, pale beings were changing before his eyes. Their movements became more fluid, more natural. Their large eyes showed depth and warmth that hadn't been there before. They're remembering how to be alive, Ryan reported. But they're also terrified. They keep talking about something hunting them. Dr. Walsh analyzed the quantum data flowing through her instruments. I think I understand what's happening. The entity they're afraid of feeds on consciousness, but it can only consume consciousness that exists in isolation. When minds connect, when they share emotions and experiences, they become too complex for it to digest. The revelation was astounding. The collective consciousness of humanity wasn't just a weapon against the aliens. It was a defense against something far worse. The quantum field created by 8 billion connected minds was too chaotic, too rich with intertwined emotions. For any predator to consume. Kelly Adams monitored the global network from her headquarters. A connection is holding stable, she announced. People all over the world are staying linked. They can feel what's happening. Indeed, humans across the planet were experiencing something unprecedented. Through the quantum field, they could sense the aliens' fear, their loneliness, their desperate desire to feel again. The initial terror of invasion was being replaced by something unexpected: sympathy. We can help them, Kelly broadcast to the world. They've been alone and afraid for so long. We can show them how to connect, how to feel without being consumed. The response was immediate. Humanity's collective consciousness reached out to the alien fleet with compassion instead of hostility. The quantum field shifted, becoming a bridge between species rather than a weapon. Admiral Korth felt the change wash over him. The human consciousness wasn't trying to destroy his mind. It was trying to heal it. For the first time in centuries, he felt hope. Open a channel to Earth, he ordered. President Brooks appeared on the alien bridge through a holographic display. Admiral, we want to help. You don't have to face this entity alone. You don't understand, Korth replied. It's coming. The quantum field you've created, it's like a beacon. The entity will follow it here. Then we'll face it together, the president said simply. The alien commander looked at the human leader with amazement. You would risk your entire species. To help us? That's what people do, President Brooks replied. We protect each other. The concept was foreign to the Zephyrians, but through the quantum field, they began to understand. The humans weren't just offering to fight alongside them. They were offering to share their consciousness, to create a collective mind that spanned. Both species. Dr. Walsh worked frantically to modify her quantum amplifiers. If we can create a permanent link between human and Zephyrian consciousness, we might be able to create a defense that neither species could build alone. The work took 18 hours of continuous effort. Human scientists worked alongside Zephyrian technicians, sharing knowledge across the quantum field. The aliens' advanced technology combined with humanity's emotional complexity created something entirely new. When the entity finally arrived, it came from the darkness between stars. The creature was vast beyond comprehension, a thing of pure hunger that fed on consciousness itself. It had tracked the Zephyrians across the galaxy, consuming world after world of thinking beings. But when it reached Earth's solar system, it encountered something it had never seen before. The collective consciousness of humans and Zephyrians together created a quantum pattern too complex to digest. The entity couldn't separate individual minds from the interconnected whole. Admiral Korth stood on the bridge of his ship, tears streaming down his face as he felt genuine emotion for the first time in centuries. Through the quantum link, he could sense the love a human father felt for his children, the determination of a mother protecting her family, a hope of students dreaming of their futures. It's working, he announced. The entity cannot feed on us. We are too connected, too intertwined. It's moving away. The cosmic predator, unable to consume the hybrid consciousness of two species united in purpose, retreated into the void between galaxies. It would search for easier prey, leaving Earth and the Zephyrian fleet untouched, But the victory was more than just survival. The quantum field that had started as humanity's desperate weapon had become something greater. It was a permanent bond between species, a shared consciousness that enhanced both rather than diminishing either. The Zephyrians, their emotions restored and their loneliness ended, shared their advanced technology with humanity. But more importantly, they learned from humans how to feel without being overwhelmed, how to love without losing their ability to think clearly. Earth became the center of something unprecedented in galactic history. The quantum field expanded, slowly outward, reaching other worlds, other species. Wherever it touched, isolated minds connected, creating networks of consciousness that were immune to predators that fed on loneliness and fear. President Brooks stood in the Rose Garden months later, watching human and Zephyrian children play together. The alien young had arrived with the latest diplomatic mission, eager to experience the emotions their parents were rediscovering. Kelly Adams continued to maintain the global network, but it had evolved beyond her original design. The quantum field was self-sustaining now, powered by the genuine affection between species that had once been enemies. Dr. Walsh published papers on quantum consciousness that revolutionized science. But her greatest discovery wasn't technical. It was the realization that consciousness wasn't meant to exist in isolation. Minds were designed to connect, to share, to grow stronger together. Captain Ryan Pierce, now promoted to colonel, led the first joint human Zephyrian exploration mission. They traveled to worlds the aliens had once conquered, bringing the quantum field of shared consciousness to species that had given up hope of ever feeling safe again. Admiral Korath, his name now changed back to his original identity of Zarthik, worked with human diplomats to establish the Galactic Consciousness Alliance. The organization's mission was simple: ensure that no thinking being would ever have to face the universe alone again. The inconceivable victory had become something even more inconceivable, a transformation of galactic civilization itself. Humanity's greatest strength, their ability to feel,